some background properties like background size, background position, background repeat, all these things. The next category of properties will be, so right, we discussed about font text properties, box model properties. Okay, and okay, I forgot to mention the wallflower font property inside the box model. I'll talk about that one. Let me go for this. Okay, we have seen box background properties. We have seen box border radius properties. Let us go for box shadow properties. Okay, so here the next one is box shadow. Box shadow properties. Box shadow. HTML. Just like it. CSS. Box shadow dot CSS. Okay. Now, right. So generally, box shadow property is used to create a shadow for every rectangle box or for every element inside a HTML page. Okay, box shadow. So this box shadow properties will take 5 values. Let us see how it's going to be. So what I'm going to do, I just take H1, okay, heading, and I'll take some paragraph as well. Or I don't want these things for the time being. I want some box. So I use a class called box. Okay, so here dot box. Let me define some basic properties for the box. Okay, height 100 pixels, height 100 pixels, box shadow. Oh, sorry, border 1 pixel, box shadow 1 pixel. And by the way, I just want to move this box to the center. So for this, I'm applying some margin left, which is what was that? Margin left. Hmm. Actually, the width of the screen is 1300 pixels. Okay, so I want to divide it into half. So I want to make it to the center. 1366 divided by 2, it's a 683. Okay, and I need to subtract 50 pixels from it. Why? Because the width is 100 pixels, so I want to make this to be center. So 633 pixels of spacing. 633 pixels of spacing, and we have margin right. Margin right 700 pixels divided by 2. I want to subtract 50 pixels, so it will be 300, right? So I can go for 300 pixels. I'm sorry, yeah, I think it's 300 pixels. That's fine. Let me open this box in the browser. I got a browser, of course. It's not centered aligned. It's not margin right, it's a margin top side. Okay, so from left side, I'm trying to make this box to the center of the page, okay, or the screen. So what I did is margin left 633 pixel, exactly center horizontally. Vertical centering means actually you have to start from this point. Okay, if you want to make a screen center, you need to take from this point to this point. Okay, if you want to make a page center, you have to take this point to this point. So let me guess, this will be around 80 pixels. This will be around 60 pixels. Okay, so what I want to do, I want to subtract one more. Uh, okay, actually, my screen resolution is, I need to take it out. Properties. What is screen resolution? No, not this one. One second. So in this, what I did, box shadow, vertical movement of the box shadow, first value, horizontal movement, blur, spreading, and RGBA color. Okay. Now, what I want to do, mm, yeah. What is the advantage of going for this box shadow? I'll show a simple example for this. Uploadcare.com. If you want to separate one simple real-time example that you can see, if you want to separate the header part from the remaining body part, then you can go for this, what we can call box shadow. Now you can see when I'm going to scroll it, you can see a separation of header, right? The header is fixed. How does header is fixed? By using a property called background attachment fixed. Okay, okay, that's fine. Now what is this? Is this an image? Okay, or any kind of thing. This is a simple header box, and you can see some kind of separation, or you can see the separation will be using some shadow, box shadow. This is a shadow. Of course, here you don't find a much better way, but I can show you. Go for inspect. Uh, might be this is right. So just go for the applied properties. Now you do have the box shadow. Now if I remove this, just look at this one. Just wait a second. Of course, it's not applied, I think. Yeah, it's there. Okay, anyway, I have 0 pixels of no spreading. I want to move horizontally in the downward direction. You can see the shadow will come. See, there is a box shadow, right, behind the scenes. So, in order to create such kind of separation, then you can go for box shadow. This is a box shadow, and here I don't find any other box shadows. Okay, that is one real-time example where we can use the box shadow. There are a lot of things are there. That is when we work, when we get into the actual work, then you can find that is completely depend upon the designer or the developer who is going to replicate exact what do you call who when the developer is trying to replicate. See, we do have some kind of designs, right? So if you when you are going to create a website or a web application, first you need to go for designs. The designer will design all the things in the Photoshop or any other kind of tools. Okay, we call them as a mockups. Mockups. These mockups will be transferred to the developer. Okay, so developer need to apply a optimizer solution in order to design same kind of what do you call design uh, or same he just need to replicate the same design as a web page by using css html all these things. Okay, in such cases, of course, different people will use different logics. Okay, here this guy uses a just what you call a shadow. Some people will place it as a simple line. Okay, such kind of difference you can find when you get into the real time. That is about the box shadow properties. And before going to the box sizing property, I want to explain one property called overflow. Actually, that to be explained inside box model itself. Okay, so inside this box model, okay, so if you do have any content that is to be overflowed, for example, this is what we have. I have two boxes, right? Box one. Hi, this is Kiran. I'm gonna overflow. Okay, now say this, refresh this page. See, the content is overflowing, flowing from the box. You can ask me, why can't we adjust the content by removing the space? Okay, of course you can do. This is padding, right? This space is called a padding. You can remove that. Where is that box model? We have 42 pixels of padding. I just want to remove this. Let's see. Oh, still overflowing. That means the content what we have given, okay, is overflowing now. If I remove the padding, the boxes is almost reducing. You need to increase the size here by placing 100 pixels. So let's take like this. No, it's not overflowing. That's fine. That's good. So it is very difficult to adjust the size of the box based on the content that what we are going to place, right? Sometimes. So in such case, for example, let me go for some more content over there. I'm gonna overflow. I'm also overflow. Let's try. Okay. Let's take some dummy text. I'm gonna overflow repeatedly. I want to print. See, still it's overflowing. If you are trying to adjust the box size, it's ridiculous. It's not exact replication of the mockups, right? So what we have to do when such content is overflowing from a box, you just apply the overflow property, overflow. In this, you can use something called auto, so that automatically the content will be placed inside the box. Okay, but this is not good always. Why? Because getting a see, if this is image, assume instead of content, text content, if this is image, is it a good idea to place a scroll bar for the image for an advertisement? Obviously not. I don't want to see any kind of such type of images by using scroll bar, right? Okay, sometimes we don't go for this, but sometimes we need to use a overflow like this. This is not good. Anyway, that is an auto. If you want to make that to be hidden, if you don't want any scroll bar, you can hide it. The content will be hidden. Only the suitable part is going to be reflected on the screen. And we have unset. Not unset. I don't want this. We have scroll X. Sorry, I forgot this one. We have okay. We have scroll overflow X is there. Okay, something like that. Scroll. If you want to scroll in X direction, you can have a overflow X. See, you got a scroll bar here. But unfortunately, this is not going to overflow in a vertical, horizontal direction. You need to remove this one. So I can use something like overflow Y to be none. I don't want to see any kind of overflow in Y direction. Oh, unfortunately, oops. Yeah, you got only scroll bar. Now you're not able to scroll in a horizontal direction, but you're not getting in this case. Okay, but almost now you can see if you take any kind of website, the website will navigate in vertical direction only. We just scroll the web page, right? We don't scroll the web page in horizontal direction. Okay, that is one of the important things that we need to go. Okay, and that is about the overflow. Okay, the next property is box sizing properties. So box sizing properties in the sense, let me start take an example. Box sizing properties. I can go for something like CSS. Okay, HTML. Okay, box sizing properties. Where we are? Yeah, box sizing properties. So generally, I already told you about the box model, right? So in this box model, if you want to calculate the width of the box, we need to add uh, the general width of the box, okay, the regular width, okay, the box width, or I can say content width plus um, border left, border right, okay, content width, border left, border right, padding width plus padding, what do you call, let me take this out, padding width, okay, padding left I can take, padding left, padding right, margin left, something like that, margin left, margin right. You need to add all these things, right, in order to calculate the width of the box. Okay, for example, let me take a simple box here, div.box, class name. Now you can see box. You can apply something called width 100 pixels, height 100 pixels. I just applied 100 pixel, 100 by 100 pixels, and I'm going to place some content inside of it. Box. Okay. Uh, Let me apply some border 1 pixel, solid, hash 000. Let's go for this. Open the browser. Now you got a box, right? I just wanna adjust this particular content to the center of the box. Okay, how do I do that? By adding a padding values. So padding top, I just want to make this to be center in the sense 30 pixels. Okay, padding left, I want, or you can use text align center instead of padding. You can use this one. See, when I refresh the page, it is horizontally aligned center, but if you look at the height of the box, it's increasing because of the extra padding that we added. Now what we have to do is we need to subtract the padding value from actual width. That means this will be 70. This is already explained in the box model properties, right? So every time when you are going to change any content or any kind of values like border left, border right, padding left, padding right. Okay, if you change anything of these, you need to adjust the width, actual width, in order to maintain the regular width 100%. Okay, not for the width. I'm talking here for the. I'm sorry. This is for height. Now it will be 100 pixels, of course. Might be. It may not be 100 pixels. Okay. Uh, 70 plus 30, 100 plus border left and right. That means 2 pixels. So it will be 1 or 2 pixels. Now, can you tell me, is this exact center of the box? The content is centered to the box? We're not sure, right? If you try to adjust this, let me make this to be 40 pixels. The size of the actual box is increasing. Again, you need to adjust here itself. Okay. So while calculating the height and width of the uh, box while placing some content inside of it, you need to change all the variables, all the property values every time when we're going to maintain an exact or a same box height or box size. Okay, that is very difficult for a developer. See, you're here. We are working with only one box. If you look at what we can call, if you look at a website, something like bbcnews.com, if you take like that. Now, how many boxes that are there inside the BBC News website? Is it okay? I just open uploadkit.com instead of BBC. Now look at this. Now this is one box, right? After applying the box radius properties, it became a vowel, right? Okay, this is another box. This is another box. This header is another box. Likewise, we have many boxes are there. So if you try to maintain the content to the center of the box every time, okay, you need to calculate. You need to add and subtract different values every time. Okay, so that is very difficult for a web developer working with such kind of cryptic mathematics, cryptic numbers or mathematics, something like that. So because of this, uh, the CSS people has introduced a new kind of property called box sizing property. Box sizing. Okay, box shadow and box sizing comes under CSS3 only. Okay, I'll just go for this CSS. See, we have seen border. All these are CSS3 properties: border radius, box shadow, text shadow. We have seen all these things. For font face, RGBA, box sizing that we are going to see. Okay, gradient we have seen. We are going to see some of these like this. Okay, so there is a property called box sizing which is used to what do we call which is allowed the web developer not to bother about the not to bother about the mathematical calculation while just in the width of the box. Okay, so for example, I can say something called border box. Okay, now what I'm doing, what we did, what is the problem with the box model? When we add a padding inside the content, okay, the size of the when we add padding or border, the size of the box is going to be increased, even though I provided some particular height and width. It's not fixed to that particular values. So every time I need to adjust the width and height according to the values I'm going to add, or padding values or other kind of values. Okay, got it. So there you can find box sizing property. Box sizing property, which is border box, and yeah. So when we give like this, no need to bother about such kind of what we can call padding values. Now you can see, generally, if you don't give box sizing property, what happens? It's not maintaining 100 pixels width, 100 pixels height, right? if you provide, sorry, it's not maintaining 100 pixels height. Why? Because the height is 100 pixels plus 40 pixels padding, 140 pixels. Okay, but now what I'm doing is I just uncomment the box sizing property where the value is border box. I will explain what is the border box now. Okay, let me refresh it. It is exactly 100 pixels. Let me add some more padding to this. That means when we add a padding or border, all these things, it's not going to bother about it. It always maintain the width and height what we have given, even though we add a padding, all these things. See, it's moving internally only. No need to adjust the box size. Okay. Of course, this will be only up to certain point only. Now, whenever the padding increases the box height, then the size of the box will increase. Now you can see that. Okay. That is worst case. Okay, we don't go for such kind of things. We always try to maintain the content inside of the box. Okay, without disturbing the height and width. If you do want like that, then you have to use box sizing property. Okay, this is allowed in CSS3. And what do you call the CSS3 people has created a new uh, something box model day, something like that. The International Box Sizing Awareness Day. There is separate day is created by the CSS people. Okay, why? Because even the in CSS3 box sizing was released. Okay, the developers in the past has been using what we call a margin and padding to adjust the box size. Okay, and they're going to edit the width as well, width and height. So, in order to get awareness of this kind of property, the people has created something called a box sizing awareness day. Okay, so it's almost I think it's 1st of February. I'm not sure. Okay, so on this day, on every year, in the every year, they going to celebrate box sizing day. Why? Because it will reduce a lot of effort or a lot of headache for a particular web developer. Okay, no need to bother about the actual width and height. Okay, so that is box sizing property. And by the way, in this box sizing property, there is something called border box, content box, something like that. Okay, content box. You just try with this. Okay, what is the border box? What is the content box? Why? Because now let me show that. Before that, I want to increase a border of 30 pixels. Border box. I just increase the border size. Okay, now go to the page. If you say border box, the content is going to be changed inside this particular border only, inside this box only, not with respect to border. Of course, it's going to start from this point and it's going to change like this. If I make this to be content box, see, this content box is going to maintain almost what is the size of this? I need to reduce this to be 1 second. I need to go to reduce this. It's very high. See, if I try to reduce the value, I think it's not maintaining 100 pixels. It's not 100 pixels. Is it 100 pixels? I think so. It is 100 pixels. So for this case, in case of content box, it's try to maintain the width of the box to be 100 pixels of this content. If you say border box for the box sizing, it tries to maintain 100 pixels from this point. I think you understand this one. So if you maintain 100 pixels of border box, okay. So from this point, from this line and this line, this line, this line, from this point to this point, it should be 100 pixels. If you maintain content box, this point to this point, this will be 100 pixels high. This point to this point, 100 pixels width. Got it? Okay, hope you understand this. Okay, that is about the box sizing properties. Next one is transform properties. Before this, what I want to do. Okay, let's go for this box transform properties. We can, I'll talk about this transform and transition later on. Before this, I want to talk about the layout properties. Okay, layout properties. Oh, it's 825.